The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game is filled with incredible moments, and each year we're exposed to dozens of them. Whether they're high-stakes, passionate duels for a championship, a duelist cementing his legacy in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, epic moments of gameplay caught on camera, or even Konami for the first time in a long time actually putting up a show. 2024 was another great year for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, and here are the top 10 moments of Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2024. Number 10. I'm on God, bro. It's the Team YCS Vegas of 2024. Longtime friends and rivals Pac and Hani Jawari face off in the grand finals. An intense matchup between the Fire King and Snake Eye versions of the current top meta decks. A top deck war that leads into a hand trap war and even Lullaby of Obedience being activated on stream, being able to snatch one of Hani's cards out of his deck. Eventually ending up with Hani taking game 1. Game 2 begins, and Hani slams down 4 different hand traps on the board, completely stopping Pac from playing the game altogether. But as Pac passes back to Hani, Hani passes right back to him. The following turn, he hits the Promethean Princess on Pac's side of the field with another Infinite Impermanence. With a pretty hyped play, Pac is able to activate 1-for-1 special summoning Snake Eyes Ash from the deck, and Snake Eyes Ash is basically full combo all over again. Hani has 1 card in hand, that card is Infinite Impermanence.
Been taken out, okay, but is it over just? I don't think it's.
As you can see, Hani is pretty hyped, and this is some sort of mental manipulation and maybe even a little bit of trash talking, being 1 game away from the YCS title. Unfortunately, Hani does not draw the card he needs to play in Scoops, but this moment gave us one of the most intense and iconic duels in recent years, filled with passion, friendship, rivalry, and even a little bit of trash talking. While Hani's team actually proceeded to win the YCS, we'll be back to this exact YCS a little bit later with another epic moment. Number 9. Simultaneous Equation Cannon resolving on stream. Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG has many meme-worthy cards that require elaborate setups or just a pretty unresolvable effect. One of them is not simultaneous equation cannons. Following a series of other equation trap cards, this cannon requires the duelist to actually do the math and get it right for a huge payoff. By banishing the correct number and levels of cards from their extra deck with reference to how many cards are currently in play and in both players' hands, and returning an Xyz Fusion monster that their levels and ranks add up to 1 monster on the opponent's side of the field, if the math is done right, all of the opponent's cards will be banished. This, of course, has never been taken super seriously as it requires an entire extra deck setup filled with different combinations of levels and ranks. Labyrinth duelist Lewis T from the UK in the UK Nationals Top 16 managed to show the world how to do the math correctly and profit big time. Labyrinth, given it being a trap deck with access to any trap in the game, and no need for an actual extra deck, is the prime candidate for those equation cannon. As Lewis activates his trap trick to set equation cannon from the deck, even the commentators are not sure whether it will be able to resolve.
Gosh, I gotta wonder what these extra deck choices are with this.
Lewis proceeds, does the math correctly, and banishes his opponent's entire field, eventually winning the game. What an epic moment. At number 8, the handshake incident. Winning in time is one of the more controversial win conditions in Yu-Gi-Oh! And in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, when the timer runs out, the duelist with less life points actually loses the game. Making time win conditions like gaining life points or burning them very close to time combined with advancing the game state relatively slowly has become popular, although controversial. During YCS Sacramento's side feature match of Top 32, Jose C, piloting Fiendsmith Snake Eyes, faced off Ibra W on White Forest Runic, 2 decks supported by the newest release of Infinite Forbidden. The score is 1-1 and Game 3 starts with 2 seconds on the clock. And while the players get a short time extension and the game comes to a halt by Jose's Droll and Lockbird, Ibra makes a few unimportant, insignificant plays to advance the game state, and then eventually during his end phase activates Runic Destruction to special summon Moonin, the Runic Wings, directly from the extra deck. Moonin actually gains the player life points, 1000 life points during the end phase as a mandatory effect, putting him in a life point advantage over Jose when the time is called. Immediately, Ibra extends the hand and basically waits for Jose to admit his defeat, but the handshake never comes as Jose continues arguing with the judges over the game state. This definitely gave us one of the most entertaining and controversial moments in YCS history, and also a good note on why time win conditions might be problematic. At number 7, the epic rematch. The first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel World Championship took place in Japan in 2023 and was won by Team Snipe Hunters consisting of Joshua Schmidt, Emre, and Quantal Thanks, who were able to beat Team 7's Ryan Yu, UDS champion and 6-time YCS champion Jesse Cotton, and Raymond Dye in that year's finals. In an intense battle over the world title, the European team were able to beat out the Canadian team, led by Jesse Cotton, through various interesting matchups revolving mainly around the tier limit strategy, which was extremely popular at the time and is still considered probably one of the best decks ever. Cut away to a year later. The 2023 World Champions of Team Snipe Hunters are automatically qualified for the new World Championship in Seattle. But Ryan Yu of Team 7 manages to qualify the team not once, but actually twice. Besides having to go through the championship gauntlet once again, Team Snipe Hunters and Team 7 actually face off in the finals once again in an epic rematch. After a series of intense matches, this time with a great display of emotion, Team 7 beats the previous world champions, solidifying Jesse Cotton as a world champion in addition to his multiple YCS and UDS titles. At number 6, the Earthbound FTK. Farfa, I know you're watching this. This one's for you. And here's some shade I'm gonna throw at Beatrice. Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, aside from being a Burning Abyss card, was also one of the most oppressive and powerful Xyz monsters ever to be printed. Being able to send a card from the deck as a quick effect by detaching only one card puts a huge target on its back, especially given the fact that Curious the Lightsworn Dominion and Lavolval Chain, who had very similar effects, were already waiting for Beatrice over in the Forbidden section. But out comes the Fiendsmith engine in Infinite Forbidden, and making rank 6s became almost trivial, with any card from the Fiendsmith engine being able to generate 2 level 6s, one of them being the already forbidden Fiendsmith Lacrima. And of course, later on putting Beatrice on the board, just using one card. Carlos T from Mexico put up Beatrice and other incredible Fiend monsters to good use as he FTK'd his opponent in YCS Sacramento top 16 this year. Carlos set up his Archfiend Eris that upon hitting the graveyard can search any Archfiend card. Sending her with Aerial Eater, which was also a new card, was a no-brainer, and it was able to search out Nightmare Archfiend, which summons tokens to the opponent's side of the field. From there, making a Beatrice, dumping Transaction Rollback from the deck that copies a trap effect without having to pay the cost, and then, on the next turn, dumping Earthbound Release on the opponent's turn. By activating Nightmare Archfiends, tokens are summoned to the opponent's field, and then Earthbound Release can trigger and obliterate them on summon, inflicting enough damage to end the game on the spot. And of course, later that year, Beatrice and Fiendsmith Lacrima were both forbidden on the same ban list. At number 5, the goddamn incident. The Team YCS in Las Vegas semifinals. It's the Team YCS in Las Vegas, it's the semifinals, and Sam, aka Team Samurai X1, going head to head with Rashad J in the Snake Eye Mirror match. Sam loses the die roll, but using a few hand traps and solid piloting, manages to break Rashad's board and OTK him, resulting in Sam being pretty surprised in how easy that was, saying the following words while mic'd up and on stream.
Oh shit, goddamn.
Now, swearing is not usually displayed on stream, and this type of language isn't really acceptable in Konami tournament policy. Sam takes away game 1, and in game 2, when Sam tries to use Droll and Lockbird on Rashad's cards, Rashad actually chains across a designator negating the Droll, and Sam utters the second goddamn in the same match.
Well, for the rest of the deck.
As the match continues, a few moments later, the match is actually brought to a halt. And you can hear Sam asking the judges, wait, did I use a swear word? Like, goddamn? Like, God? Sam not really understanding what was problematic. Now, it's kind of hard to figure out what goes on from there. Apparently, Sam already got a language warning during the tournament, and this time he also got a warning that was upgraded to a game loss. However, he started the finals with that game loss. So, it's a pretty confusing game state. This has been relatively disappointing to see from a lot of players getting punished for language, but nonetheless an iconic and entertaining moment involving one of the most creative and funny, talented individuals in the Yu-Gi-Oh scene that eventually also became a YCS champion all in his own right. At number 4, the undisputed Ultimate Duelist Series. Similar to YCS's, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Ultimate Duelist Series, often abbreviated as UDS, was a tournament series that existed from 2015 to 2020. Unlike a YCS, where every player willing to pay the entry fee is able to participate, the UDS only allows players with a certain number of UDS points to enter. Players were able to earn these UDS points by participating in other official Konami events, such as regionals, YCSs, or WCQs. Among other prizes, winners of UDS tournaments, and this was the iconic part, received an Ultimate Duelist Championship title belt, yes, like in wrestling, as well as special perks at other official Konami events. And this is why now Jesse Cotton and other UDS champions start off every big tournament with a 2-0. In February of 2024, almost 4 years after the last regular UDS tournament, one more final tournament was hosted where all UDS champions were invited. This was done as part of Konami's celebration of the 25th anniversary of the card game in Japan. In this tournament, which was thankfully streamed, we got to see the world's top 16 duelists battling it out during the high-stakes Snake Eye Fire King format. Besides being an awesome spectacle, Jesse Cotton, a previous UDS champion, managed to win the event, taking home the title of the undisputed UDS champion, adding to his 6 YCS titles, and of course, the new Master Duel World Championship, cementing him as the absolute GOAT. And number 3, the Chronicles. One thing that has kept every duelist on the planet busy for the last few years is when and if will there be a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated series. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game has always been centered around a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime helping the cards sell. From the days of Duel Monsters and Yugi's Grandpa, all the way to the complicated game states and Link monsters in the Vrains era. Duelists could gain inspiration from their favorite characters on the show, picking out themes and archetypes based on their preferred playstyles. However, following the finale of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, a new show focusing on Rush Duel, which is a side product of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, not related to the actual TCG or Master Duel cards, duelists were left without any prospect for a new story or animated series. That is, until March of 2024, where the Yu-Gi-Oh! 25th anniversary celebrations took place in the Tokyo Dome in Japan. Besides revealing a lot of new cards and being a huge celebration event for duelists who could attend, Konami has also revealed their new animation studio, aptly named Konami Animation, by displaying a new animation clip that had many fan-favorite cards and archetypes from modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, including some major story pieces in the game's lore like Fallen of Albaz and the Bellstar and the Sinful Spoils. Duelists went mad in reaction to this reveal, hoping that this will spark a possible new animated series centered around their favorite cards from the present, but in a completely new way other than before. So while this video was being edited, and of course we had to mention the Chronicles, Konami actually revealed the release date of the Fallen of Albaz and Sky Striker animes to be in April of 2025. So that just gets even better. Back to the video. Number 2. Ruben Panaranda takes the World Championship. Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG World Championship is the culmination of the Yu-Gi-Oh! competitive season each year. After gaining enough World Qualifier points through winning regionals and YCSs, the best of the best arrived in Seattle this summer to compete for the ultimate title. Ruben Panaranda, a well-known duelist and previous 2-time Team YCS champion in the 2023 and 2024 seasons, piloted a full-power version of Yubel, a deck not impacted by the joint forbidden and limited list for this event, and beat his own teammate Mark Solis 2-0 in the final round for the grand title of World Champion. The commitment, the love of the game, and display of emotions, alongside being a back-to-back win for an American duelist, or rather a TCG duelist, a thing that has not been so common in the past, makes this moment an inspiring one to say the least. And also, we got this quote.
"This wasn't for me. It's not for me, Bell. It's for you, Bell."
And sneaking in the last minute as number 1, YCS Anaheim. YCS Anaheim wasn't going to be such a promising event. With a relatively low attendance as usual for a West Coast event in the US, a confusing format with very strong older decks, but also 2 new powerful decks, people seem to just want to get it over with and be done with the competitive year. And it was true for the first day, where we barely got to see any of the new cards released in crossover breakers, like the Malice and Ryzel cards, but it was clear that they will be displayed heavily during Top Cut in day 2. So far, pretty uneventful. Comes day 2, and there's a clear picture that Ryzel is heavily represented and is probably going to win, with Fiendsmith variants of Ryzel and Kashira still being around and being extremely oppressive. Top 32 has a lot of well-known faces you'd love to see, and in the 32nd spot of Top 32 sneaks in a well-known duelist and Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube personality, Steven Trifanowski, aka Trif Gaming. A Canadian duelist from the Supreme Pro team who has already won 2 other YCS titles this year, with Pack and Team Samurai X1 each grabbing a title. Trif's online nickname has previously been 2023 YCS Champion, and then when that didn't happen, 2024 YCS Champion over on Dueling Book. And given that this was the last YCS of the year, this was his last chance to make it happen. Cut to a later part of the broadcast, something weird is going on. Jerome McHale, one of Konami's representatives and commentator, enters the frame, accompanied by 2 other casters, wearing sunglasses and holding a briefcase. When Steve Kangas interviews him, he says that the new Forbidden and Limited list will be revealed tonight, and it's gonna be on stream. Twitter starts losing it, and as event viewership rises, it seems like we're going to be in for an epic night. We're actually going to get the ban list live. This is crazy. In a magical moment, a few hours later, hundreds cheer as Steven Trifanowski lifts the YCS trophy for the first time, accomplishing his lifelong goal of becoming a true YCS champion. And following that, a Forbidden and Limited list is revealed on stream, card by card, with an audience cheers and boos live on stream. And this moment has also followed the previous Forbidden Unlimited list, which was actually had its date revealed during the Shadow Duelist Master Rule event. Also a first time for Konami in a long time, who seemingly caved in to the few weeks of memes tweeted at them and finally giving duelists a date for the ban list ahead of time, even though it was just 1 day ahead. And a few horses were involved in that. It definitely seemed like Konami has listened this year, whether they liked it or not, and acted to bring forth more communication to its player base. And even if this is recency bias and YCS Anaheim wasn't the greatest moment, somebody in the comments tell me that revealing a ban list live on stream wasn't the most hyped moment of the year. And this has been the top 10 greatest moments of 2024. Leave it down in the comments below if there is a moment that you think should be on here that I completely missed. And on a personal note, again, as we wrap up the year, thank you for another amazing year. Thank you so much for the support, the subscribers, the likes, the comments, seeing me in events, having me sign cards. The reason I do this is you guys. So here's hoping for a great 2025. And thank you so much for watching as always. If you like this type of content, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you next year. Peace.